They said the British F-35B Lightning wouldn't last long in a daylight exercise against the F-22 Raptor. They said the Raptor would take the altitude, take the speed, and take the first clean shot. In the American control room, the expectation was quiet and absolute. Once the intercept began, the outcome was already decided. But inside the RAF cockpit, with his radar dark and every sensor running passive, the British pilot prepared for a different kind of fight. No rush, no noise, no unnecessary moves. Only discipline and geometry built second by second. Because this exercise wasn't about who flew the superior aircraft. It was about who flew the smarter fight. So when two stealth jets closed into the same patch of daylight sky, which pilot would truly see first, and which would never realize he had been seen? Welcome to Hidden Valor. The first radar tracks appeared long before either pilot realized the exercise had truly begun. High above the North Atlantic training corridor, the F-22 Raptor cruised with relaxed authority. Its pilot rode altitude and speed like natural advantages. Super Cruise kept the jet steady above the layered airspace while wide area scans painted the sky in perfect clarity. From the American perspective, the engagement profile looked straightforward. Acquire, descend, lock, simulate fire, reset. Across the tactical display back at the Air Operations Center, analysts whispered confidently. The Raptor sat exactly where doctrine demanded. High, fast, unseen. No emissions were detected from the opposing aircraft. The RAF Lightning was somewhere ahead, its transponder silent, its radar dark. The interpretation felt obvious. The British pilot is staying defensive. Inside the F-35B cockpit, the situation looked nothing like that assumption. The RAF pilot flew lower, skimming beneath the scattered cloud tops, letting the Earth's curve and cluttered background contaminate radar probabilities. No active radar, no data link broadcast. Only passive sensors fed clean streams of data into the helmet display. Infrared search vectors, offboard sight cues, faint thermal disturbances far ahead. Not a lock, not a tone, just presence. Somewhere above him, the Raptor was hunting. Protocol said to respond with emissions, sweep wide, demand your own picture. But he ignored the impulse. Radar activation would be a flare in stealth terms, a confession of position. Silence was survival. He trimmed the aircraft gently, adjusting heading by small degrees. Not toward the F-22 directly, but toward the predicted intersection of vectors. He wasn't chasing the Raptor. He was waiting for it to come to him. That difference defined everything. Up high, the American pilot began his descent plan. The radar contacts were vague, not fixed returns, more like ghost probabilities. The intelligence cues suggested the Lightning remained below the Raptor's skin geometry, almost hiding in the curvature of the battlespace. Nothing alarming. No immediate threat. Just the kind of shy positioning expected from a jet trying to stay alive rather than fight back. He angled down slightly to tighten the search volume. That single adjustment shifted the geometry. Below, the British pilot watched the silent data bloom across his visor. The faint arc shifting into a defined thermal wedge. The Raptor had changed attitude. That tiny maneuver gave away just enough infrared signature to collapse the probability cloud into a genuine track. He saw the Raptor first, not with radar, not with emissions, just by reading the sky with better discipline. Still, he did not engage. Doctrine said a missile shot at this range would have low probability, especially without radar guidance updates. A hasty trigger pull would announce his presence and burn his only advantage. Instead, he held position and bled distance gradually, matching altitude changes just enough to remain below the Raptor's visual plane. Up above, the American pilot felt no threat pressure, only slight curiosity. The Lightning was still passive, still defensive. Confidence remained firm. In command, controllers echoed the assumption. Contact maintaining low altitude, probably evading. No one called it what it truly was, a trap tightening. The RAF pilot shifted the throttle minutely, allowing the Lightning to climb in carefully controlled increments. Not a chase climb, but a geometry climb. Staying just outside the Raptor's radar cone, while nudging toward missile optimal range. He was stitching himself into the Raptor's blind quarter, one patient correction at a time. The American pilot began another radar sweep, broader this time, just to confirm what he believed he already knew. And in that moment, the stealth duel tilted. The F-22's powerful radar briefly painted the sky. To most pilots, the pulse would have been meaningless noise. To the RAF pilot's fused sensors, it became confirmation. A location, a direction, a firing window forming. He steadied the jet. The American still felt alone in clear air, convinced the Lightning was hiding somewhere below, timid, evasive, and nearly beaten already. But below the Raptor's belly, carefully folded into its blind geometry, the British F-35B had stopped running and was now positioned to strike the hunter from behind. The British pilot waited. Not seconds, but discipline. Every instinct screamed to act now. The geometry was forming beautifully. The range was narrowing. The Raptor still hadn't detected him directly. But rushing the shot would waste the advantage. The Lightning's greatest weapon at this moment wasn't its missile. It was silence. He held. In the F-22 cockpit, the American pilot made the final doctrinal decision. Stop searching passively. Force clarity. The Raptor's radar powered fully, focused, tight beam, cutting through the airspace with brute precision. In stealth warfare, that move is violent. The RAF pilot's sensors erupted in perfect clarity, not as danger, but as opportunity. Now the target location solidified. The prediction cloud collapsed to a pinpoint. The hunter had revealed itself. Still, the British pilot did not fire. Why? Because discipline demanded the highest probability shot, not the fastest one. He waited until the geometry became nearly abusive. The Raptor had unknowingly maneuvered itself directly across the Lightning's lead pursuit line. The firing envelope expanded. The RAF pilot took a breath. The storm of high-speed information running across his visor suddenly simplified into one symbol: shoot. He squeezed the trigger. Somewhere, unseen against the blue skin of the daylight sky, a missile leapt from the F-35B, silent, and climbing toward a hunter that still did not know it was prey. The F-22 pilot never heard a tone. What he felt instead was instinct, the sudden certainty that something was wrong. He rolled sharply right, dumping altitude for separation, instinctively blending speed with descent. Classic Raptor doctrine. But geometry is cruel. The Raptor's sudden maneuver only tightened the missile's lead pursuit curve. Only then did the jet's warning systems trigger. A sharp chirp. Missile inbound. The American pilot flared countermeasures and snapped the Raptor into a vertical climb. But physics was merciless. The missile cut the corner the Raptor could not. Training safety protocols triggered before impact. Electronic scoring rules terminated the engagement. On the integrated displays in both cockpits, the verdict appeared. Simulated hit confirmed. Target destroyed. The Raptor was dead in the simulation. Silence filled the sky. The American pilot eased off the controls, heart pounding. He looked at the empty air where the Lightning should have been, but saw nothing. Back at command, the operations center froze. The data replay showed the unthinkable. An RAF F-35B had remained silent the entire time. It had never emitted radar, had never chased, and had used only geometry to force the Raptor into its own missile envelope. One technician finally spoke. He trapped it. The British pilot finally exhaled. He never smiled. He merely rolled the Lightning level and flew on, already disengaging exactly as doctrine demanded. Because victory to the RAF wasn't celebration. It was simply precision executed perfectly. Back inside the multinational command center, the debrief teams reviewed the telemetry. What stunned the analysts wasn't the simulated kill. It was how little the Lightning had done to achieve it. No radar emissions. No targeting broadcast. No chase acceleration. One American briefing officer finally said what many were thinking. He never fought the Raptor. He fought the geometry. The American pilot arrived at the debrief shortly after. There was no bitterness in his expression, only professional recognition. He approached the RAF Lightning pilot, extending a gloved hand. "I never had you," he said. "Not once." The British pilot nodded. "I never needed you to," he replied calmly. Their handshake wasn't about victory or defeat. It was about mastery, because the day's exercise had proven something uncomfortable but undeniable. Skill still matters, even in a sky ruled by machines. Stealth did not decide the fight. Speed did not decide the fight. Discipline did. And the discipline of one RAF pilot had been enough to outclass the world's most feared air superiority fighter. Not by overpowering it, but by never letting it realize it was already beaten. If you enjoyed this story of hidden valor, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. Would you choose speed or stealth? Let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.